2월 20일 월요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 제이슨과 함께 시작합니다.
Foreign ministers from the G7 group of industrialized nations have slammed North Korea's reckless behavior after it fired an intercontinental ballistic missile that landed in Japan's exclusive economic zone, calling the act a blatant violation of UN Security Council resolutions.
주요 7개국 외교부 장관들은 최근 북한이 발사한 대륙간 탄도미사일이 일본의 배타적 경제 수역에 떨어진 데 대해 UN 안보리 결의의 명백한 위반이라면서 북한의 무모한 행동을 강력 규탄했습니다.
The death toll from the devastating earthquakes that struck Turkey and Syria earlier this month has surpassed 46,000 amid reports of survivors defying the odds, including people who were rescued after 13 days trapped in the rubble.
이달 초 튀르키예와 시리아를 강타한 지진의 사망자 수가 4만 6천 명을 넘어섰습니다. 잔해에 갇힌 지 13일 만에 구조되는 등 기적적으로 살아난 생존자들 소식도 함께 전해지고 있습니다.
The prices of beer and soju last year rose 5.7% from a year earlier, according to Statistics Korea, marking the highest price increase rate for alcoholic beverages in 24 years.
통계청에 따르면 지난해 맥주와 소주 등 주류 가격이 전년 대비 5.7% 올라 24년 만에 가장 높은 상승률을 기록했습니다.
Europe's natural gas prices have tumbled to their lowest level in nearly 18 months. In the latest sign, the region has avoided a much-feared energy crisis.
유럽의 천연가스 가격이 약 18개월 만에 최저치로 떨어졌습니다. 이로써 유럽은 그간 우려됐던 에너지 위기를 벗어난 것으로 관측됩니다.
Microsoft has announced it will limit chat sessions on its new Bing search engine powered by generative artificial intelligence to 5 questions per session and 50 questions per day, following reports of the bot going off the rails during long exchanges.
마이크로소프트사는 생성형 인공지능을 기반으로 한 검색 엔진 빙 챗봇과의 대화 세션에서 한 차례 주고받을 수 있는 문답을 최대 5회로 제한한다고 발표했습니다. 이는 긴 대화가 이어질 경우 챗봇이 정상적으로 작동하지 않는다는 보고가 나온 후 이루어진 조치입니다. Morning Headline Expressions. One of the expressions we looked at in the headlines was blatant.
Yeah, blatant is to do something that's very obvious without trying to hide it. And it can often be things that you say as well. Donald Trump was known for being very blatant with
and
some
blunt.
of the very blunt with some of the things that he said. He wasn't trying to hide it. It was he was just, well, look, this is what I'm going to say. And he's very obvious about it.
그러게요. 명백히 그냥 정말 눈에 뻔히 보일 때 it's very, very obvious. You could say it's blatant. Or you could say someone says something blatantly, which is, again, very obviously and clear.
Something that some other people might feel shameful about saying, but you are not.
There you go. 자, 명백한이라는 의미가 있습니다. 자, 그 다음에 defy the odds.
When you defy the odds, you're able to do something even though the chances of you succeeding at that is very, very slim.
Yeah.
So maybe a lot of the students who get into Seoul National University defy the odds by getting in there because so many, hundreds of thousands of kids want to get in, but only so few actually do.
그렇죠. 확률적으로는 뭐가 되기 굉장히 힘든데 그걸 했을 때 defying the odds라고 하고요. Turkey and Syria 같은 경우에는 지금 13일 동안이나 매몰돼 있다가 생존한 그런 사람들이 있습니다. They really defied the odds. It's really, really difficult to survive after 3 days, they say, but 13 days.
Yeah.
Incredible.
They've definitely defied the odds.
They have. Now, alcoholic beverages.
Alcoholic beverages, any drink that has alcohol in it. And of course, the opposite of that, it would be a non-alcoholic beverage.
그렇죠. Non-alcoholic beverage or alcoholic beverage. So beverage is another word for drink. 그래서 우리가 식음료라고 하나요? Food and Beverage 산업 얘기할 때 F&B. 예, 요거 이렇게 말하는데요. 그걸 줄여서 F&B지만 그 단어 하나하나가 Food and Beverage가 되겠습니다. Alright, the next one is the latest sign.
Yeah, in this case, it's sort of seen as the latest indicator.
Yeah.
So something that shows you something that you're looking for, whether it be like something that's to come in the future or something that represents something in the past.
뭔가를 보여주는 것. 우리도 그냥 외래어로 사인이라고 하는 것 같기도 해요. 그래서 이제 에너지 크라이시스를 겪을 수도 있었지만 유럽에서 그렇게 하지 않고 그것을 극복한 것으로 보여집니다. It's the latest sign that Europe has avoided an energy crisis. And the last expression was to go off the rails.
Off the rails. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
When you're being crazy or you do something very unexpected, very unconventional. And again, think of the train that's supposed to be on the rail, but if it goes off the rail, then whoa, yeah, that's doing something that you're not supposed to do.
그래요. 탈선하다의 의미가 말 그대로 하면 있습니다. rail이 그 선로가 되니까요. 그렇지만 이게 좀 다양하게 해석을 할 수 있고요. 학생이 탈선하다 뭐 그런 의미로 쓸 수도 있겠지만 여기서는 그 챗봇 얘기였어요. 우리가 전혀 생각하지 못했던 그런 행동들을 했어요. It went a little crazy, that chatbot.
Yeah, and you can also say the opposite of going off the rails would technically be, stay on the rails, right? Now, we have an expression that is actually stay on track. So in the same sort of way, it's not rail, but, when you stay on track, you're staying focused, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
제대로 가야 되는 길을 따라갈 때 stay on track라고 합니다. 자, 이렇게 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 expressions는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브를 통해서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 자, 그럼 2월 21일 화요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 레이와 함께 시작합니다.
North Korea fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles toward the East Sea on Monday, a day after South Korea and the U.S. staged joint air drills, calling the rocket launcher a means of tactical nuclear attack.
북한이 한미연합 비행훈련에 대응해 어제 동해상으로 전술핵 공격수단인 방사포 2발을 발사했다고 밝혔습니다.
U.S. President Joe Biden made a surprise visit to the Ukrainian capital Kyiv on Monday for the first time since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine almost a year ago.
조 바이든 미국 대통령이 우크라이나 전쟁이 발발한 지 거의 1년 만에 처음으로 어제 우크라이나의 수도 키이우를 전격 방문했습니다.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has signed a decree to nationalize lithium, saying the aim is to assure that the mineral is not exploited by foreigners from Russia, China, or the U.S.
안드레스 마뉴엘 로페스 오브라도 멕시코 대통령은 리튬을 국유 재산화하는 법안에 서명하고 앞으로 러시아, 중국, 미국 출신 외국인들이 리튬을 착취하지 못하도록 하는 것이라고 덧붙였습니다.
Administrators of schools, colleges, and universities in Thailand have been prohibited from expelling pregnant students or forcing them to transfer to other educational institutes under a new ministerial edict.
태국 교육당국은 새로 도입된 장관 규정에 의해 임신한 학생을 퇴학시키거나 본인의 의사에 반해 다른 학교로 전학시키는 것을 금지했습니다.
A university in the U.S. state of Tennessee has apologized for poor judgment after using ChatGPT to write a condolence email in the wake of last week's shooting at Michigan State University that left 3 students dead.
미국 테네시주의 한 대학교가 지난주 발생한 미시간 주립대학교 총기 난사 사건과 관련해 애도하는 이메일을 챗 GPT로 썼다가 사과하는 일이 발생했습니다. And those are our headlines. Morning Headline Expressions. From the headlines today, we looked at the expression a means of something.
A means of something is a way of doing it.
So a means a way of doing something.
Yes, it means a way of doing something.
네, 이게 헷갈릴 수 있어요. 우리가 뜻하다를 뜻하는 mean 하고 이제 인칭에 따라서 means 하는 거랑 이 명사 means는 다르거든요. So the means of
Yeah, you'll always hear
something.
means of.
Means
and like,
of.
You can hear how I'm saying it.
Yeah, means of.
You can barely hear that there's a space between the two words, right?
그러네요.
Right? We didn't have a means of doing it.
연음으로 이렇게 발음을 하는데요. 무엇의 수단이란 뜻입니다. A means of something. A means of 이렇게 발음을 하네요.
Sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, people, if they can't afford something, they
Yeah.
might say they don't have the means. It would be the means of paying for that thing.
Exactly. The next expression we looked at was to make a surprise visit.
Surprise! You show up basically unannounced.
Yeah, a surprise party.
Surprise party. Yeah. Did you ever go to one of those back in the day?
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, it's fun.
I
It's
haven't
fun.
been to one or organized one in ages.
No, and I can't recall getting any surprise visit in a long time either. I think that's kind
Yeah.
of one of those things. I'm sure in the countryside, I know older people will probably still pop in
Sure,
to each other's houses.
네, a surprise visit는 깜짝 방문이란 뜻인데요. Make a surprise visit. 이 경우에는 미국의 조 바이든 대통령이 우크라이나의 키이우를 깜짝 방문했다라는 의미로 썼습니다. The next expression was to assure something.
If you assure something, you make sure of it. And I liked what you said earlier, the kind of the phrase is to rest assured.
Yeah.
If you're telling someone, maybe someone's worried about something and you're just calming them down, you're letting them know everything's going to be fine. Hey, rest assured,
Yeah.
I'll take care of this, or rest assured, there's not going to be any problems.
Rest 하고 ASSURED 이렇게 rest assured라고 하면은 걱정하지 마세요, 안심하세요라는 의미인데요. 원래 assure라는 것은 뭔가 장담한다라는 의미가 있습니다.
The other way I might use it is if we're talking in work-related situations,
Yeah.
right, where you have deadlines.
Yes.
You might say, this person, like Sue, assured me this will be finished by Tuesday. Or, you know, guaranteed. Basically, you can think of it that way. It's another way of saying to guarantee somebody something.
Guarantee, yeah. 반드시 데드라인을 지키기로 장담했습니다. 보장했습니다. This person assured me that they would have this done by the deadline.
Right.
그래요. The next expression is to be prohibited from something.
You're prohibited from doing something. You are not allowed to do it. Not allowed.
Yeah.
Entry for buildings, right? You might try to go into a building. No, sorry, this area is prohibited. You're prohibited from coming in this area.
Yep. Be prohibited from doing something. 그래서 무엇이 금지되다의 의미가 있는데요. In Thailand, now you cannot expel students just because they are pregnant.
Right.
Or, you can't send them to another school. You have to give them the equal opportunity for education as all the other students.
That's right.
And the last expression was poor judgment.
Poor judgment. That's the sophisticated way of saying you messed up.
Yeah.
You did something
bad
really
judgment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did something really dumb.
그렇죠. 여기서의 poor는 상당히 부족했다, 잘못됐다라는 의미가 있어요. 그래서 poor judgment는 잘못된 판단이라고 볼 수 있겠죠. The school in question said, you know what? It was due to poor judgment that we used ChatGPT for this condolence email. We shouldn't have done it.
Right. When
Yeah.
you say poor judgment, you're sort of reflecting back and realizing,
Yeah.
oh, that really was not smart. Why did we do that? And you're expressing regret, aren't you?
와, 그렇죠. 이건 좀 판단 부족이었습니다라고 인정할 때 이렇게 말할 수 있겠죠. 자, 이렇게 해서 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션스는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브를 통해서 다시 듣게 하실 수 있습니다. 자, 2월 22일 수요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 레이와 함께 시작합니다.
Korea's household credit shrank at the sharpest pace in the fourth quarter of 2022 amid high interest rates driven by the central bank's monetary tightening to bring down inflation.
통화 긴축 정책의 일환인 금리 상승의 영향으로 지난해 4분기 전체 가계 빚이 급감했습니다.
A Korean court, in what is being hailed as a landmark ruling, has recognized the legal rights of a same-sex couple seeking the same spousal coverage from the state health insurance program as heterosexual couples.
법원이 동성 배우자의 건강보험 피부양 자격을 이성 배우자가 갖는 자격과 동일하게 인정하는 전례 없는 판결을 내렸습니다.
At least 40 people have been killed in flooding and landslides caused by heavy downpours in Brazil's Sao Paulo state, with dozens of people still unaccounted for.
브라질 상파울로주에 집중호우가 쏟아지면서 최소 40명이 사망했으며 수십 명이 실종됐습니다.
A government program in Hong Kong that seeks to attract top international talent to work in the city has caused eyebrows to raise after it approved the application of disgraced Chinese scientist He Jiankui, who produced the world's first genetically altered babies.
세계 최초 유전자 편집 아이를 탄생시켰다고 밝힌 불명예의 중국 과학자 허젠쿠이가 홍콩 정부가 진행하는 고급 인재 유치 프로그램에 선발돼 논란이 일고 있습니다.
The Consulate General of the Republic of Korea in Osaka has called on all Korean nationals visiting the city on February 21st and 22nd to take necessary safety precautions against large-scale rallies by right-wing groups marking Takashima Day.
주 오사카 대한민국 총영사관은 어제와 오늘 양일간 일본 우익단체가 다케시마의 날을 맞아 대규모 집회를 벌이는 가운데 이 기간 동안 오사카 지역을 방문하는 한국인에게 신변 안전에 유의할 것을 요청했습니다. And those are our headlines. Morning Headline Expressions. From the headlines today, we looked at the expression to shrink at the sharpest pace.
If something shrinks, it just gets smaller.
Yeah.
That's what shrink is.
Yeah.
Right? And then when we're talking about pace is speed. So a lot of the times you'll, especially if you read football news from England and they're talking about Son Heung-min,
Oh, yeah?
they always talk about his pace.
It's so fast.
His speed, the way he speeds up the game and the way he gets around everybody with his pace. So it's saying that it was the household credit.
Yeah.
In Korea, it actually got smaller faster than it has in 10 years or something.
그렇죠. 10년 만에 전 4분기에 비해서 가계빚이 줄어들었거든요. 그거를 shrink, 줄어들었다, at the sharpest pace, 가장 빠른 속도로 라고 여기서는 표현을 하고 있습니다. The next expression was landmark ruling.
So in this case, because we have ruling there, then it's coming from a court.
Yeah.
So this is a verdict or a decision by a court that is important, is significant, and there's a very good chance it's going to be looked back on in the future as being very significant. So as we talked about earlier, landmarks, all countries, all cities have landmarks, and those are important, usually big things that you can look at and you can go to, and they're very important.
그렇죠. landmark ruling이라는 것은 아주 중요한 판결이라는 의미가 있는데요. 전례가 없다라는 의미로도 볼 수 있습니다. It sticks out, it's eye-catching, it's very important. The next expression is people are unaccounted for.
Right, if people are unaccounted for, they're missing, or the people who are talking about them just don't know where they are. So missing has that connotation of they've either been kidnapped or in flooding situations or disaster situations they're probably injured or possibly dead.
Yeah, yes, exactly. missing은 실종이고요. unaccounted for는 그런 실종의 의미도 있고 뭐 행방불명이라는 의미가 될 수도 있고요. 여기서는 물론 실종자의 의미입니다.
But
yeah.
unaccounted for doesn't always have to mean something like that. So
Sure.
you could be having a meeting at work and, where's Sue?
Where's Sue?
I can't find her. She's not answering her phone. She's unaccounted for. I don't know where
그렇죠?
she is.
그런 의미로도 쓸 수 있는 거죠. 꼭 실종된 게 아니더라도 레이 어디 갔지? 아니 뭐 연락도 안 되고 그냥 지금 행방불명이야. He's unaccounted for.
I don't know where. Yeah. But in that case, you're not thinking that I've been kidnapped or something.
No.
Just
don't know where you are.
You're
what
not
you're
answering my
doing.
phone. You don't
happened.
you don't know where I am.
그래요. 그런 의미가 될 수 있겠네요. 그 보면은 missing in action이라는 표현도 있잖아요. Is that
MIA?
similar? MIA.
I
Is
think
that
it's
similar to unaccounted for?
No,
No?
I don't think so. Like MIA, doesn't it come from? I think it's a military term,
I
isn't it?
see.
But then it gets
Right.
used a lot especially in sports.
Yeah.
Like, he was MIA last night, missing in action, couldn't play.
원래는 그러면 군대 용어군요. MIA라는 것은 missing in action이라는 의미인데, 그러니까 예를 들자면은 뭐 스포츠 선수가 어제 뛰지 않았어요라고 할 때, this star was MIA last night.
Yeah, he was.
네.
And sometimes they even say it if a guy didn't play very well. Oh, he was MIA last night. No, he
그래요.
played. I didn't notice him.
이것도 원래 의미는 행방불명이지만 근데 캐주얼하게는 그냥 안 보였다, 안 나타났다라는 의미로 많이 씁니다. Friends 노래에도 보면은 My love life's that's DOA. We'll do that next
Dead
time.
on arrival?
That's next, do that next time. 다음 표현 가보겠습니다. To cause eyebrows to raise.
What?
이렇게요. 올라가는 거죠.
진짜? Like you're shocked at something.
Yeah.
It's surprising, it's shocking. It could be amazing, but a lot of in the context that we talked about it, where that disgraced scientist was given this special visa for Hong Kong, it makes people say, "What?"
What?
You know, you're really questioning. Sometimes people furrow their brow
Yeah.
if they're like, "What?"
Furrow their brows.
Yeah, it goes the other way.
Yeah.
But the phrase "raise eyebrows" means people are going to question this. People are going to. I don't think everyone's going to like this.
그렇죠. 눈썹이 올라가게 한다. 사람들로 하여금 왜 그러지? 라는 그런 의구심이 좀 들게 한다는 건데요. To cause eyebrows to raise. And the last expression was to take precautions.
Take precautions. You do something to try and mitigate any risk or to prevent something bad from possibly happening in the future.
Yeah. Take precautions. 필요한 어떤 사전 조치 그런 것들 미리 취한다는 얘기가 되겠습니다.
It's like putting on a seatbelt.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
a precaution.
Yeah. 자, 오늘 헤드라인에 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 expressions는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 자, 그럼 2월 23일 목요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 레이와 함께 시작합니다.
A recent survey has found that restaurants tend to charge more for certain menu items when they are ordered through delivery service apps, with nearly 50% of surveyed restaurant owners admitting to reducing the amount of food when delivery commission fees rose.
최근 조사에서 음식점들이 배달 서비스 앱을 통해 주문을 받을 경우 일부 메뉴의 가격을 올리는 경향이 있는 것으로 나타났습니다. 조사 대상 중 절반 가까운 업체는 배달 수수료가 인상됐을 때 음식량을 줄였다고 인정한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
The U.S. Department of Defense has warned service members to avoid all consumption of poppy seeds, including those found in food products and baked goods like bagels, due to concerns that the seeds could affect drug testing results.
미 국방부가 장병들에게 베이글과 같은 식품 및 제빵류를 포함해 모든 종류의 양귀비씨 섭취를 피할 것을 권고했습니다. 이는 군 복무 기간 중 실시되는 약물 검사 결과에 영향을 미칠 것을 우려한 조치입니다.
Major grocers in the UK have started limiting customer purchases of selected fruit and vegetables, particularly tomatoes, after supermarket supplies were hit by disrupted harvests in southern Europe and North Africa.
유럽 남부와 아프리카 북부에서 기후변화 여파로 흉작 피해가 발생하자 영국 내 대형 식품점들이 토마토를 비롯한 일부 과일과 채소 품목의 고객 구매량에 제한을 두기 시작했습니다.
Authorities in Peru have reported that more than 700 sea lions and tens of thousands of birds, mostly pelicans, in protected areas across the country have died from the highly pathogenic H5N1 strain of avian influenza.
페루 당국은 자국 내 보호구역 안에서 700마리 이상의 바다 사자와 펠리컨을 비롯한 수만 마리의 조류가 고병원성 H5N1 조류 독감 바이러스에 감염돼 떼죽음을 당했다고 보고했습니다.
A new study has suggested that Earth has 5 major layers instead of 4, putting weight behind a theory that our planet has a distinct ball of iron within its metallic core.
지구가 기존에 알려진 4개 층 대신 5개 층으로 이루어졌을 가능성을 제기하는 새로운 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. 이로써 지구의 내핵 안에 별개의 금속 구체가 존재한다는 가설에 힘이 실리게 됐습니다. And those are our headlines. Morning headline expressions. Ray, you know what? I have
What?
to admit, we have to do the headline expressions.
Oh, yeah, we do. I have to admit I'm not ready. Where are my papers?
No.
Oh,
자,
no.
admit가 첫 번째 표현입니다. Admit to doing something or just admit something.
You admit you say you did it. You
Yeah.
say something is true. You acknowledge a truth. You acknowledge a fact.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't want to admit certain things.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Admit는 이제 인정하다인데요. 시인하다. 근데 그냥 I admit I did this. 그러면 내가 이런 거 했다는 거 그래 솔직히 말할게 라는 의미이고요. Admit to doing something 이라는 phrase를 또 쓸 수 있습니다.
Yeah, admit to making a mistake. You can also say that.
Yeah, I have to admit to, making tons of errors. Earlier on, I should have said, send in your 무모한 문장, and I think I said 도장. So,
okay.
So instead of, I have to admit, I made a
Dojang,
mistake.
is that like a stamp?
Stamp, yes.
Oh, yeah, I have
I don't know
that.
why I said that,
Oh,
but
I like mine, actually.
there you go. Admit to doing something. 뭔가 했다라고 시인하고 인정하는 겁니다. Admit. The second expression is to avoid consumption.
If you avoid anything, a lot of times we'll say avoid dangerous situations, avoid people that you don't get along with,
Yeah.
stay away.
Stay away.
That's what
yeah.
avoid means. And consumption has a few, it's basically the same, but it's used slightly differently. In this context, we were talking about the U.S. Department of Defense telling soldiers not to consume poppy seeds.
Yeah.
When it's food, eat. Or drink. Or ingest. But when we talk about it from an economic perspective, it's to purchase things, to
Yeah.
consume, to buy.
소비하다의 의미가 있죠. 그렇지만 consume이라는 게 음식일 때는 섭취하다 이렇게 얘기를 하면 되겠고요. Avoid consumption of poppy seeds는 양귀비 씨 섭취를 하지 말아라, 피해라 라는 의미가 되겠습니다. 사람한테 쓸 때는요, 이렇게 쓸 수 있어요. 너 나 왜 피해? Ray, why are you avoiding me?
I'm not.
Oh, good. 이렇게요. 그래서 피하다, 회피하다의 의미로도 쓸 수 있는 겁니다. 자, 그래요. 놀라셨나요? 다음 가보겠습니다. Major grocer.
Major grocer, major grocery chains, supermarket chains. When you see major, it means big, large. So all the big supermarket chains. Chain, when I say chain, I mean franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Major grocer라는 게 여기서는 이제 대형 식품점을 얘기하고 있는 거고요. 대체적으로 이런 grocery store, grocers 이거는 지역별로 약간 다르게 말하기는 하는데 I think in America it's more common to hear grocery store
Or supermarket.
or supermarket.
Yeah.
And in England you will hear grocers quite a lot.
Grocers, yeah, right. I like some of them because they have these really good pre-made dishes already made for you at the,
Oh,
the
yeah.
very back of the English supermarket. So I love those.
Yeah, they're great. 그래서 장 보러 가는 것도요, 이 단어를 활용해서 go grocery shopping이라고 할 수 있습니다. The next expression is tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands. So it's going to be under 100,000,
Yeah.
right? But more than 9,999. So we're in that category. In this case, it was 63,000. So when we say tens of thousands, it could be 10, 20, 60, 70. Thousand, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very broad phrase, right? Especially if you say hundreds of thousands of people, or well, there's a lot of variation there.
Yeah.
It's not very specific.
No, that's so true. Tens of thousands는 우리말로 하면은 수만에 해당이 될 거고요. 여기서는 조류, 새를 얘기하고 있기 때문에 수만 마리가 되겠죠. So tens of thousands of birds in this case. 만약에 수십만 마리라고 하고 싶으면 hundreds of thousands of birds라고 하면 되겠고요. Moving on to the final expression, distinct.
So if something is distinct, it's clear,
Yeah.
and it's different from other things. You can separate it from other things and compare it with other distinct things. How are they different?
Yeah, distinct. 아주 뚜렷한이라는 의미가 있습니다. So it looks like Earth might have a distinct ball, a metal
Yep.
core in the middle of what we thought was the core.
Right, it's different from
Yeah.
that core, so they
Yeah.
are two distinct things.
그러게 말입니다.
We could separate them and analyze them.
Yeah, I thought that was quite fascinating.
Yeah, really.
지구에 별개의 또 하나의 뚜렷한 핵이 있을 수 있다라는 얘기였죠. 뚜렷하다, distinct. 자, 이렇게 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 expressions는 오디오와 학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다. 자, 그럼 2월 24일 금요일 모닝 헤드라인스 뉴스캐스터 폴과 함께 시작합니다.
Korea's demographic crisis has deepened further after new data showed the country's total fertility rate plummeted to an all-time low last year, darkening prospects for one of the world's most aged countries.
통계청 자료에 따르면 우리나라 작년 합계 출산율이 역대 최저로 떨어지면서 한국의 인구 통계학적 위기가 심각한 수준인 것으로 드러났습니다.
Japan is seeking to include a phrase that says the G7 members welcome its transparent approach toward the disposal of radioactive wastewater in a document to be released after the April gathering of the group's energy ministers in Sapporo, according to local media.
일본 정부가 오는 4월 삿포로에서 열리는 주요 7개국 환경장관회의를 앞두고 회의 공동성명에 오염수 방류의 투명한 처리 방식을 환영한다는 문구를 담는 방안을 추진 중이라고 일본 언론이 전했습니다.
The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism has announced that it would launch 3 working groups to lay the cultural, institutional and industrial foundations for changes in AI technologies like ChatGPT.
문화체육관광부는 챗GPT와 같은 인공지능 기술 변화에 따른 문화, 제도, 산업적 기반을 마련하고자 3개의 워킹그룹을 발족한다고 밝혔습니다.
A series of earthquakes has hit a remote region of Tajikistan bordering China's Xinjiang province, with the strongest trembler measured at magnitude 6.8, according to the US Geological Survey and other related agencies.
중국 신장 위구르 자치구 변경지역 부근인 타지키스탄에서 미국 지질조사국 기준 6.8 규모의 지진이 발생했습니다.
Consumer packaged goods giant Unilever has been experimenting with ways to store its ice cream in freezers that are set to temperatures of roughly minus 12 degrees Celsius, up from the industry standard of minus 17 degrees Celsius, in efforts to crack down on greenhouse gas emissions, according to the Wall Street Journal.
다국적 생활용품 업체 유니레버가 탄소 절감을 위해 아이스크림 냉동고의 업계 표준 온도인 영하 17도보다 높은 영하 12도로 설정된 온도에도 덜 녹는 아이스크림을 연구 개발 중에 있다고 외신이 전했습니다. And those are our headlines. Morning Headline Expressions. Let's have a look at the main expressions from today's headlines. An all-time low refers to what?
The lowest ever when we're talking about some kind of record being broken. In this case, sadly, we're talking about the total fertility rate being the lowest it has ever been. It has hit an all-time low. The opposite, an all-time high.
아하, an all-time low는 역대 최저, an all-time high는 역대 최고가 되겠죠? 이렇게 관사가 붙습니다. 왜냐하면 명사를 썼기 때문인데요. An all-time low, an all-time high. You'll hear these a lot in any number-related business or economy news. The next one is to be released.
Yes, it's not to be set free. Don't let it go, Sue. Here, we're publishing or we're making public. So we use this term often with, a press release, for example, is released, or a movie is released, or a podcast from Morning Special or EBS is released on audio or 학당.
Yes, absolutely. To be released라는 게 여기서는 이제 공개적으로 발표가 된다라는 의미가 있어서요. 공표된다라는 의미로 보시면 되겠습니다. The next one is to lay the foundations.
Yes, you can do this if you're building a house, meaning you put down the structure on which the house will be built. Or if you're planning something, it means making the basic plan, basic structure, or basic ideas.
어떤 기반을 이렇게 만든다라는 의미로 볼 수 있겠죠? To lay the foundations. And then we had remote region.
I've always wanted to go to Dokdo, but I haven't been able to go. I know there are boats, but you have to get a boat to Ulleungdo, and then you have to get a boat from Ulleungdo to Dokdo. The issue is, Dokdo is a remote island. It's a remote region. It's far away from Seoul and far away from the mainland. And this is what the term remote region means. It's far away from the main area or the center of wherever we're talking about.
네, 외딴 지역이라는 의미로 remote region이라고 얘기할 수 있어요. 변경지대라고도 볼 수 있는데 remote라는 것 자체가 멀다라는 의미가 있어서 우리가 원격 제어하는 리모컨 그것도 remote control이고요. 멀리서 일하는 거 재택근무 remote working 그 다음에 또 학교에 가지 않고 집에서 온라인으로 공부하는 거 remote learning이 되겠죠. And the last one was industry standard.
Yes, if we talk about smartphones, it seems that the new industry standard for chargers for smartphones is going to be USB-C.
Yes.
Because until now, there's been micro USB or there's been the other one by the fruit-based phone. But now it seems that everyone is going to use USB-C. So that will be the industry standard, the thing that everybody uses across the smartphone industry. Here we're talking about the standard temperature for ice cream freezers. So the industry standard was minus 17 degrees, and it could change depending how things go to minus 12.
That's right. 산업 표준, industry standard. 이게 아이스크림을 저장하는 냉동고는요, 보통 우리가 가게 같은 데 가면 그게 산업 표준이 영하 17도라고 합니다. 근데 앞으로 어쩌면 곧 일어나면 좋겠는데요.
네.
영하 한 12도 정도에서도 녹지 않는 그런 아이스크림이 개발이 되면 에너지 세이빙 하는 측면에서 굉장히 좋겠죠. 가격도 내려갈까요? Well, that's what you said could happen.
I think
don't know.
but if they're saving energy and saving money, shouldn't we get some of the benefit?
I think
Possibly.
that sounds logical.
Cheap ice cream, Sue, now please.
자, 인더스트리 스탠더드는 그래서 산업 표준이 되겠습니다. 오늘 헤드라인에서 나온 표현들 리뷰해봤고요. 모닝 헤드라인 익스프레션스는 오디오 어학당과 유튜브에서 무료로 다시 듣기 하실 수 있습니다.